Today's news highlights 20250925. Date September 25, 2025. Republic of China September 25, 114. Time cutoff point, 1500 hours on the same day. Source, Internet, major news media and channels, official accounts, app data. The channel content is only concise news content and does not have any perception or emotion. News highlights: a study of 10 people found that eating breakfast after 9 a.m. increased the risk of developing type 2 diabetes by nearly 60% compared to those who ate before 8 a.m. Experts recommend that diabetics maintain regular eating, eat a balanced intake of carbohydrates for breakfast, and eat small and frequent meals in moderation at dinner, which can help control blood sugar, improve blood pressure and blood lipids, but they still need to be combined with exercise and a balanced diet. News highlights: the CDC pointed out that last week, 9/14/9/20, the number of influenza-like outpatient and emergency visits in China exceeded 115,000, and the emergency rate was 11.5%, officially entering the influenza epidemic period. At the same time, it is expected that COVID-19 will rebound in late October, forming a dual threat of flu and new crown. Influenza is dominated by type A H1N1, and the proportion of type A H3N2 is increasing, reminding the public to be vigilant and pay attention to epidemic prevention and medical capacity. News highlights: the claim that bananas are poisonous or carcinogenic when eaten with 8 foods or drugs has been confirmed as a rumor. Experts point out that eating bananas with cantaloupe, watermelon, yogurt, potatoes, taro, sweet potatoes, beef, or aspirin does not cause toxicity or cancer risk. Only those with kidney disease or spleen and stomach deficiency need to pay attention to the portion size to avoid diarrhea or increased blood potassium and blood sugar. News highlights: on the 23rd, the Matayan Creek dammed lake in Hualien caused severe flooding in Guangfu Township due to overflow, washing away the Matayan Creek Bridge, resulting in 17 deaths. Drone surveys by the Ministry of Agriculture show that the lake water has decreased by 75%, with about 2,300 tons remaining, and a red alert is still maintained. Experts pointed out that the dammed lake is geographically remote, has a large amount of soil and rocks, and has a high risk of hasty drainage, so evacuation and disaster prevention measures need to be carefully evaluated, and it may take more than a year to desilt and restore living functions. The government is reviewing evacuation implementation and future disaster prevention strategies. News highlights: the Ministry of Economic Affairs announced on the 23rd that 47 goods such as integrated circuits, chips, and memory exported to South Africa must be approved first in response to South Africa's forced Taiwan to relocate its representative offices abroad and violated the negotiation process. This move aims to safeguard Taiwan's sovereignty and national security, and also reflects the importance of Taiwan's chips in the global supply chain. The South African Ministry of Foreign Affairs said the relationship between the two sides is non-political, but this measure highlights the impact of economic diplomacy on global value chains. News highlights: Chinese actor Yu Hazy fell to his death from a building in Beijing on September 11, and the police closed the case with lightning, saying that he fell under the influence of alcohol, and his body was quickly cremated. However, there are many suspicious points in the incident: suspected distress signals before his death, abnormal scratches and injuries at the scene, abnormal behavior of relevant personnel, and possible implication of Zongnanhai executives. Online remarks were blocked by the entire network, many artists were silenced, and the outside world questioned the prevalence of unspoken rules in China's entertainment industry, coupled with the CCP's high-pressure blockade, making it difficult to verify the truth of the case. This case may cause political turmoil, highlighting the institutional problems intertwined with abuse of power and chaos in the entertainment industry. News highlights: the Hualien Matayan Creek dammed lake overflowed on September 23, carrying a large amount of soil and rocks to wash away the Matayan Creek Bridge, flooding Guangfu Township, killing 17 people. The Ministry of Agriculture's drone survey shows that the lake water has decreased by 75%, and the red alert is still maintained. News highlights: according to a study by the American Academy of Neurology, maintaining 7 healthy habits in middle age: exercise, good diet, healthy weight, non-smoking, controlling blood pressure, cholesterol, and blood sugar can reduce the risk of dementia in the future, and the risk of each lifestyle improvement is reduced by about 6%. In addition, insufficient education in early life, deafness in middle age, and smoking in later life are the main risk factors. News highlights: the latest research points out that excessive consumption of coffee, juice, and carbonated drinks increases the risk of stroke, and the risk of stroke can increase to 37% if you consume more than 4 cups of coffee or juice and soda frequently every day. On the contrary, drinking black tea, green tea in moderation and drinking 7 glasses of water a day can reduce the risk. Maintaining a healthy diet, exercise, weight, and regular check-ups can help prevent stroke. News highlights: memory loss is associated with deterioration of the brain's neural structure, lack of sleep, brain damage, mental problems, excessive alcohol consumption or drugs, nutritional deficiencies, etc. Through aerobic exercise, adequate sleep, cognitive training, and maintaining a healthy lifestyle, it can stimulate the release of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, enhance memory and reduce the risk of dementia. News highlights: the latest research shows that generative AI does not significantly improve work efficiency as expected. The survey pointed out that AI-generated work garbage often causes colleagues to take time to correct and understand, increasing hidden costs. Software engineers have also found that using AI actually prolongs task time. Economists also believe that the market overestimates the productivity improvement of AI, and truly improving efficiency requires a combination of training, organizational adjustment, and professional experience. News highlights: Taiwanese diva Zhang Hui and Mandarin diva Zhang Hui may have been at the top of the music scene for a long time, and the key is to keep pace with the times and accurately grasp the pulse of the times. Zhang Hui's songs are close to social emotions, and the selection of songs changes with the times, forming a wide resonance. Zhang Hui may use the producer's precise song selection to return to sincere performance during the low ebb. Huang Yunling, chairman of the Taipei Pop Music Center, emphasized that having the courage to challenge oneself, cross-disciplinary learning and teamwork can continue to enhance professionalism and innovation, and make a music career everlasting. News highlights: research shows that office small talk is not a waste, but a low-cost, high-return network investment. By briefly interacting with supervisors, sharing small details of life, paying attention to industry trends, or proactively providing assistance, you can build trust, grasp invisible information, and create collaboration opportunities to enhance workplace visibility and development potential, which can also be easily implemented by introverts. News highlights: this year, the Taipei International Aerospace and Defense Industry Exhibition attracted 490 exhibitors from 15 countries, with 1,500 booths and more than $200 million in business opportunities over 3 days. The Trump effect and NATO's policy of increasing military spending have boosted global demand. Taiwan's military industry has expanded to the European and American markets, and exports of drones, rugged computers, bulletproof equipment and other products have increased significantly, forming a new wave of 10-year business opportunities. News highlights: the US-China AI competition is heating up. The US Stargate project will add 5 new data centers, with a 3-year investment of $400 billion, and OpenAI, Oracle, and SoftBank will cooperate to expand computing power. China's Alibaba is promoting RMB 3,800 billion in AI infrastructure and plans to further increase it. Taiwanese manufacturers such as Honhai, MiTAC, and Inventec have benefited, ushering in huge business opportunities in servers and AI computing power. News highlights: Microsoft has launched microfluidic cooling technology, which flows directly through the chip micropipe through the coolant, which is better than traditional cooling solutions and does not require vapor chambers or water cooling plates, helping to develop more efficient chips. This move impacts the stock prices of Taiwanese cooling factories such as Jians, Keong, and Zhuanghong, and may also subvert the AI server cooling industry ecology. News highlights: Giant Machinery, 9921, a Taiwanese bicycle brand Giant Machinery manufacturing plant, was issued a temporary detention order, WRO, by the U.S. Customs CBP, prohibiting Taiwanese-made products from being exported to the United States due to forced labor concerns. It is estimated that the revenue of the U.S. market will be affected by about 4–5%, and will file a complaint, emphasizing that the supply chain is transparent and compliant, and sales in other regions will not be affected. News highlights: Qualcomm President Eman announced that Qualcomm will launch 6G pre-commercial equipment as soon as 2028, demonstrating its intention to strive for 6G leadership. In addition to improving speed and bandwidth, 6G also has intelligent network and sensing capabilities to strengthen cloud and edge connections. The industry expects to officially commercialize it in 2030, and Qualcomm is accelerating technology development and standard formulation, and working closely with Taiwan's industry and academia to lay out the future communication ecosystem. News highlights: the Hualien Mataon Creek dammed lake overflowed and collapsed on the 23rd, and the flood peak invaded Guangfu Township and other places, causing 17 deaths, 32 injuries, and 17 people missing. The sediment accumulation in the disaster area is serious, making rescue difficult. The Executive Yuan and the Hualien County government accused each other of ineffective evacuation, and the prosecution has intervened in the investigation and corresponded with relevant information to clarify whether there was human negligence, and the disaster area remains at high risk. News highlights: there are many holidays in October, and Taiwanese people love to travel to Japan, China, and South Korea. Travel experts remind that in addition to paying attention to local cultural taboos, you should take out full travel insurance to avoid high medical expenses caused by accidents or sudden illnesses. News highlights: Kim Na-yeon, Little Dragon Girl, a Korean member of the Wee Equan Dragon cheerleading team, was hit by a drunk driving vehicle while taking a taxi in South Korea a few days ago. She shared the car accident on social platforms, which aroused the concern of Taiwanese fans. News highlights: artist Una, Lin Chihua, left home after the divorce, and the custody of the children was in her ex-husband's name, but she still lived with her the next week. In order to support herself and her children, she worked hard, including receiving notices, selling children's clothing, setting up stalls in the market and even selling vegetables, and working part-time in a dance studio. News highlights: after the flood overflowed from the Matayan River dammed lake in Hualien, Guangfu Township, the flood receded, leaving behind a large amount of garbage and drifting debris, and the doors of residents' homes were blocked, rotting and smelling, desperately asking for help. The volunteers said that after the rescue of the missing residents is completed, large machinery will be dispatched to clear and transport, and remind them of epidemic prevention measures to avoid secondary disasters. News highlights: Chinese tutoring internet celebrity Zhang Suifeng once claimed that if China attacked Taiwan, he would donate 100 million yuan, causing controversy. Subsequently, his personal accounts such as Douyin, Kuaishou, Weibo, Bilibili, and Zaya Hongshu were banned from new users for violating the rules, but the company and official accounts were still operating normally, with a total of more than 5,000 fans. News highlights: on the 23rd, Hualien, Guangfu Township caused the Matayan dammed lake to overflow due to typhoon and heavy rain, resulting in 14 deaths, 32 injuries, and 46 missing contact. The central government grasped the high risk as early as the 21st and announced a red alert on the 22nd, requiring local governments to evacuate, but most of the victims were within the scope of forced evacuation, and the outside world questioned the negligence of local governments. The Executive Yuan has launched an investigation to clarify local responsibilities and whether they are involved in violations of the law. News highlights: Penang, Malaysia actively promotes semiconductor upgrades, expanding from packaging and testing and low-end chip manufacturing to IC design and high-end manufacturing processes. The government provides tax incentives, park support, and international cooperation to attract foreign investment, aiming to become a chip R&D and manufacturing hub in Asia. Although it has cost and packaging and testing advantages, high-end technology and talent still lag behind Taiwan, and it is expected to become a complementary role in the region in the future. News highlights: the overflow of the dammed lake in Matayan Creek, Hualien, caused 14 deaths and many people lost contact in Guangfu Township. A 6-year-old girl was trapped on the top of a bungalow with her aunt and uncle for 2 days and 1 night, and her mother could not accompany her in time due to work. The Pingtung Special Search Team destroyed the roof and rescued the girl on the 24th. News highlights: the National Health Insurance Commission of the Ministry of Health and Welfare held a total consultation on the 24th, and for the first time, the 5 major totals of hospitals, primary Western medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, dentists, and outpatient dialysis reached a consensus, and the total amount will increase by 5.5% to 980 billion yuan next year. News highlights: Taiwan imposed semiconductor export controls on a single country for the first time, restricting the export of chips and memory to South Africa in order to counter South Africa's downgrading of the level of its office in Taiwan. This move shows Taiwan's attempt to weaponize the status of the chip industry as a diplomatic tool, highlighting its strategic autonomy and diplomatic toughness in the global supply chain. News highlights: Hualien's Matayan Creek dammed lake collapsed on the 23rd and severely damaged Guangfu Township, and the county magistrate Su Jinwei called for donations on the 24th but was questioned by netizens about the whereabouts of the donations, and the post was immediately taken down. The Executive Yuan has launched the 0923 Hualien Matayan Creek dammed lake disaster fundraising project, providing a variety of donation channels for a 1-month solicitation period. News highlights: Mook Company was found to have used small items paid by Beijing for the third wave of fundraising and resold them for profit, involving 44 yuan of political donations suspected of embezzlement. The prosecution found that K. Wentz and his staff knew about it, but the accounts were chaotic and some of the internal accounts were destroyed, and the actual amount involved was difficult to ascertain. News highlights: artist Tang Ling has been smoking for 25 years since high school, and eventually suffered from stage 4 stomach cancer that metastasized to the uterus and ovaries, and underwent surgery and chemotherapy to remove multiple organs. She emphasized that smoking is a clear carcinogen, and now advocates smoking cessation as a volunteer of the Tung Foundation, calling for avoiding smoking from the beginning to avoid harming health. News highlights: Lu drama actress Wu Jinyan and Hong Yao got married last year, but the wedding post has disappeared, causing rumors of a marriage change. Hong Yao clarified that he denied the marriage change, saying that the two were very good. Wu Jinyan was still working during her pregnancy last year, and gave birth to a daughter in February this year, and the couple was successfully promoted to novice parents. News highlights: after the well-known YouTuber Ihuhu TV's Ryu and his ex-wife Fuma both cheated, they broke up with Chinese painter Qin Shijing after only 8 months of dating. Qin Shijing posted a message clarifying that the breakup was a decision made by both parties, and angrily urged netizens not to interfere, restoring the truth of the incident and saying that the leaked conversation stickers were done by her 12-year-old sister, calling for respect for the private affairs of the two. News highlights: the police determined that he fell from the building after drinking ruled out homicide, but the numerologist Shen Rong pointed out that he was threatened with violence and obscenity during his lifetime, and could not enter the cycle of reincarnation with grievances. News highlights: Taiwanese singer Liao Wanjun suffered from stage 3 breast cancer and recently suffered from severe throat pain due to influenza and tonsil inflammation, but she still insists on working as a resident singer. A few days ago, she fainted and was sent to the emergency room for fasting for a long time in cooperation with the examination, but fortunately there was no serious problem during the examination. she said that she has recovered after resting and will release a new album early next year. News highlights: the digital version of Jolin Tsai's new album Pleasure has been released, but the physical Garden of Seven Sins edition has been postponed to October 30 due to complicated production, and fans complained. This version presents a visual concept with a medieval scripture rope and a Seven Sins card, and the photography was done by Korean photographer Cho Ji-isok. News highlights: Lee Eng-kai, the new president of Taiwan Mercedes, said that even if Taiwan's tariff policy on American cars is released, Mercedes car prices will not be fully reduced, only affecting American production models, and the rest will remain unchanged. He emphasized the importance of price stability for brand credibility and consumer confidence. In the next 2 years, Mercedes Taiwan will launch more than 25 new cars and invest 500 million yuan to strengthen channels and continue to expand the market. News highlights: Hualien's Matayan Creek swelled, and the flood rushed into Guangfu Township, causing major disasters, resulting in 14 deaths and 31 people missing. Resident Wu Nan lamented that when he escaped, his mother let go and sank in order to protect him from survival, and criticized no one for notifying him to evacuate in advance. After the disaster, most of the survivors lost all their belongings, and the police are assisting in DNA comparison to confirm the identities of the victims. News highlights: U.S. Customs issued a temporary detention order on bicycles and parts produced in Taiwan by Taiwan's Giant Machinery on the grounds of forced labor, effective immediately. CBP accused him of poor working conditions, wage deductions, and excessive overtime. Giant denied and put forward a 4-point statement, which will appeal and fight to revoke the temporary withholding order, emphasizing that it has improved employee dormitories and implemented a zero recruitment fee policy, and launched a contingency plan, affecting revenue by about 4% to 5%. The Ministry of Economic Affairs stated that it will assist the company in resolving labor concerns to maintain international goodwill. News highlights: Hualien Guangfu Township was severely damaged by the overflow of the Matayan Creek dammed lake, and residents criticized the urban area for not hearing alarms and broadcasts, and the evacuation information was insufficient, resulting in chaos and escape. The township chief emphasized that there had been a warning broadcast in advance, and the Ministry of Agriculture said that a total of 6 warnings were sent in 2 days, and the central government has notified a total of 9 times since the 21st, and has determined that more than 8,500 people need to be evacuated, but the actual implementation of the warning is still questionable. News highlights: experts pointed out that after the age of 45, more attention should be paid to blood quality, because blood viscosity and slow flow may lead to dangers such as arteriosclerosis, stroke, and myocardial infarction. If there are frequent signs such as drowsiness, fatigue, and poor skin condition after meals, it may be a warning sign of bad blood. Improving blood quality can start with 5 habits: drinking enough water every day, eating 3 meals regularly, exercising for 30 minutes a day, moderate stress relief, and 6 to 7 hours of quality sleep. News highlights: Taiwan's cancer clock is accelerating, with 1 person diagnosed every 4 minutes and 2 seconds. Japanese cancer doctor Norihiro Sato warns that common breakfasts may harbor cancer risks, and the 3 major blacklists include: refined starch, toast, white rice, can easily raise blood sugar and promote inflammation; processed meat, bacon, ham, sausages, is classified as a first-class carcinogen by WHO. Dessert drinks containing whipped cream are high in sugar and fat, which significantly increases the risk of cancer. Experts warn that intake should be reduced to avoid long-term health threats. News highlights: the overflow of the dammed lake in Matayan Creek in Hualien also triggered political attacks and defenses. Green Committee member Wang Dingyu was exposed in the party group for suggesting quoting a picture card made by the fan page Mr. K. Shuet, asking the executive yuan to release lethal information to fight back against the Kuomintang, but it was leaked by members, causing criticism from blue and white supporters. Wang Dingyu clarified that the truth will be lethal to the rumor-mongers, emphasizing that the central government has already notified the county government to evacuate 9 times, and the disaster situation has expanded due to local negligence. Mr. K. Shuai felt heartbroken and puzzled by the suspected leakage of secrets by a high-level group within the party. News highlights: the leak case of the former assistant in the office of the president of the legislative yuan spread, and Wu Shangyu, Chu Xiuan, Huang Kurong, and He Renjia, who were involved in communist espionage, were prosecuted. The prosecution alleges that Huang was absorbed while doing business in China, returned to Taiwan to develop the organization, and collected high-level itinerary and diplomatic intelligence to transfer to the Chinese side. The Northern People's Court pronounced the verdict in the first instance today, 25th, with Huang Kurong sentenced to 10 years in prison, Chu Xiuan to 6 years and 2 months, Wu Shengyu to 4 years, and He Renjia to 8 years and 2 months, and the whole case can be appealed. News highlights: 4 dead, dozens of injuries and a large number of missing contacts. Science and technology expert Su Maihua criticized that although it was a natural disaster, the death of 14 people was a man-made disaster, because the central government had repeatedly issued documents requesting evacuation but it was not effectively implemented. County Mayor Su Jinwei was in South Korea before the incident, and when she returned to Taiwan to offer condolences, she was accused by the public of not notifying her of evacuation. her husband Fu Kunkai's suggestion of blasting and drainage was rejected by experts. News highlights the leak case of the former assistant to the office of the president of the Legislative Yuan spread, and the prosecution pointed out that Huang Qurong was absorbed in China, returned to Taiwan to develop the organization and absorbed Chu Xiuan, Wu Shangyu, and He Renjia, and jointly collected the president's itinerary and diplomatic intelligence and handed it over to China in exchange for compensation. The four denied committing the crime and argued that most of the information was pieced together information. The prosecution prosecuted and sought a heavy sentence in accordance with the national security law and the state secrets protection law. The Northern People's Court pronounced the verdict in the first instance today, 25th, with Huang Qurong sentenced to 10 years, Chu Xiuan to 6 years and 2 months, Wu Shangyu to 4 years, and He Renjia to 8 years and 2 months, and the whole case can be appealed. News highlights the Taiwan team played against Hong Kong in the third game of the Asian Baseball Championship preliminary round, 11-0 in advance in the 7th inning, and won the knockdown victory in 3 consecutive games in the preliminaries. Starting pitcher Gao Weiqiang pitched 6 scoreless innings, and the batting line was full of firepower, with Chen Shengxian, Huang Beryui, Cai Iwita, and others hitting one after another. The previous 10-0 victory against the South Korean team made the Korean media and netizens collapse, and even said that there might be Taiwan phobia, questioning the widening of the strength gap between the two sides. News highlights the Hualien Matayan Creek dammed lake overflowed on September 23, instantly releasing about 1,540 tons of water, washing away the Matayan Creek Bridge, and Guangfu Township became the hardest hit area, causing at least 14 deaths, 33 missing contact, and 32 injured. County Mayor Su Jinwei was arrested a few days ago and was in South Korea during the typhoon, and did not return to Taiwan immediately for disaster relief. She announced on the 24th that she would open a special account for disaster relief to raise funds, but it was quickly removed from the shelves due to criticism from netizens for rushing to raise funds and questioning the use of the donations, causing heated public opinion. News highlights a gunfight broke out in the East District of Hsinchu City this morning. A suspect with a gun record was intercepted by the Daewon police across districts, and in the process drove into the police. The police fired more than 10 shots in a row. The suspect still abandoned the car and fled, and a modified firearm was seized at the scene, and no one was injured. The police continue to pursue and remind nearby people to be vigilant. News highlights China's 37-year-old actor Yu Hazy fell to his death on the 11th of this month, sparking heated discussions and conspiracy theories on the internet. Recently, some live broadcasters were forced to go off the air because the audience sent a tip with Hazy brother, and it has become a sensitive word circulating in the community. The CCP announced a 2-month online rectification action on the 23rd to block relevant speech, and Sina Weibo has deleted more than 100,000 posts and banned more than 1,000 accounts. News highlights U.S. Customs issued a detention order for Giant's Taiwan-produced bicycles and parts, alleging forced labor, including poor working conditions, debt bondage, and excessive overtime. Giant emphasized that it has improved the treatment of employees and will communicate with CBP to seek to revoke the detention order, and Taiwan's exports of U.S. products are estimated to affect revenue by about 4–5%, and other markets will not be affected. News highlights Dentsu Creative's 2025 CMO report emphasizes that under the popularization of AI, the real competitiveness of brands lies in investing in intimacy and connecting creativity. Brands need to grasp human insights, create SEO creation models, and use communities to collaborate with creators to stimulate emotional resonance and enhance brand influence, while taking into account that core values are not diluted. News highlights Bloomberg reported that Intel is negotiating investment cooperation with Apple to revitalize the chip business, which is currently in the early negotiation stage. Intel has also reached out to other companies. Recently, Nvidia, SoftBank and the US government have invested in Intel, and Intel's stock price rose 6.4% after the news broke. News highlights 68-year-old baker Liu Jingkai was sentenced to 20 years in prison and served 19 years of parole for the 1993 sexual assault murder of a female college student. Liu smiled with relief when he heard the result, and the audience cheered on the spot. News highlights the overflow of the dammed lake in Matayan Creek in Hualien caused serious disasters in Guangfu Township, and DPP legislator Wang Dingyu and the executive Yuan Group dialogue was leaked, among which the lethal news sparked discussion. Wang Dingyu clarified the news against the rumor mongers, emphasizing that the central government has monitored the dammed lake and planned to evacuate, but the local government has not implemented it, and the safety of the victims' lives is the focus. News highlights the Cyberspace Administration of China, CAC, launched a 2-month special operation to crack down on online content that maliciously provokes confrontation and promotes violence and negative emotions, covering social networking, short videos and live streaming platforms. The action will delete posts and ban accounts, focusing on cracking down on two-dimensional groups, rumors, conspiracy theories, and hype-up celebrity trivia, etc., aiming to create a civilized and rational online environment and prevent the spread of the lying flat mentality among young people. News highlights the overflow of the Matayan River dammed lake in Hualien Guangfu Township caused serious disasters, causing 15 deaths, 32 injuries, and 34 missing contacts so far. About 417 people were involved in the search and rescue at the rescue site, and 633 people have been rescued. A 6-year-old girl, Xiao Yi, was rescued, and her god-aunt and uncle were unfortunately killed. The fire department emphasized that local governments must notify the public to evacuate and take measures such as vertical evacuation to deal with flooding. News highlights 68-year-old baker Liu Jingkai was imprisoned for 19 years for the sexual assault and murder of a female college student in 1993. He appeared in court wearing a freedom shirt, smiled after hearing the verdict, hugged his family, and finally rehabilitated. News highlights China Henan Zhengzhou China Steel Network recently recruited steel business, with a monthly salary of 15 yuan, about 64 Taiwan dollars, and the personnel director said that it can reach up to 92 yuan, about 393 Taiwan dollars, regardless of educational qualifications, but must have experience in major customer development and strong courage. This high salary is mostly in the form of a basic salary plus commission, and it is necessary to achieve extremely high sales targets, which has aroused heated discussions and doubts from the outside world. News highlights a Guoguang passenger transport collided violently with a locomotive, and a 20-year-old rider surnamed Chu and a 19-year-old passenger surnamed He fell on the spot on the locomotive, and were sent to the hospital for rescue but still died. Preliminary investigation is suspected to be due to yellow lights and motorcycles rushing to run lights, and the exact cause is still to be clarified by the police. News highlights Chinese actor Yu Hao died after falling from a building in Beijing on September 11, causing the outside world to question the official statement that it only said excluding criminal cases. It is rumored on the internet that he was suspected of being imprisoned, violent and wrestling with high-level officials during his lifetime, and as many as 93 households in the community Sunshine on the East collectively sold their houses, raising concerns about safety. News highlights Hualien's Matayan Creek dammed lake overflowed on the 23rd, severely damaging Guangfu Township, with fruits and vegetables soaked, vehicles washed away, furniture damaged, and victims busy cleaning up the silt. The public criticized the relevant units for repeatedly promising to deal with them but failing to implement them, calling them man-made disasters caused by negligence and demanding national compensation. Guangfu Township is currently without water and electricity, and the damage needs to be assessed. News highlights Chinese actor Yu Hao died after falling from a building in Beijing on September 11, causing the outside world to question the official statement that it only said excluding criminal cases. It is rumored on the internet that he was suspected of being imprisoned, violent and wrestling with high-level officials during his lifetime, and as many as 93 households in the community Sunshine on the East collectively sold their houses, raising concerns about safety. News highlights the Labor Insurance Bureau of the Ministry of Labor reminds that today, 25th, the National Pension Basic Guaranteed Pension for the Elderly, Aboriginal benefits and maternity benefits will be issued. Eligible female insured persons can receive maternity benefits, and the standard is that the monthly insured amount is paid for 2 months at a time, and if multiple births are born, it will be doubled according to the number of fetuses. Please apply within 5 years, and no payment will be made after the deadline. News highlights a T-91 rifle shooting accident occurred in Chenggong Ridge, Taichung on the 22nd, and the 18-year-old conscript soldier surnamed Xiao fired the last bullet and accidentally hit the left side of the face, causing 1/3 of his face to be damaged. His eyeballs fell out, and he was stuck in the brain. The family prayed that the doctor could save the other eye, and through the Sakha Buddhist Society's collective chanting and chanting, they hoped to save their grandson's life. Prosecutors are investigating the cause of the accident. News highlights YouTuber Cool Dream spent nearly 500 yuan to create the reality show Chinese Monster, inviting 100 foreigners to compete in Chinese ability, and the first episode exceeded 1 million views within 24 hours of being broadcast, causing heated discussions. The popularity of the show also increased the pressure of the Cool, and he only slept 3 hours a day to do his best post-production, resulting in indigestion, weight loss, and back pain, but he still said that the results of the show were satisfactory and he would not rest for the time being. News highlights physician Chen Zhuan pointed out that non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is mainly caused by eating too much sugar and exercising less. Fatty liver can be divided into 3 stages: simple fatty liver, steatohepatitis, cirrhosis, and even liver cancer. Prevention can be achieved through weight loss, regular exercise, Mediterranean diet, vitamin E supplementation, and medication under the guidance of a doctor. News highlights the Taichung High Court today sentenced Zhang Mingshi to 16 years in prison and confiscated 134 yuan from the Air Force Academy, who was absorbed by Taiwanese businessman Zhong Shunye as a communist spy, and received 6.5 yuan and 3 bonuses per month to collect information on Taiwan's military and political situation. Yet Guangkai is not guilty. Zhong has passed away, and it cannot be accepted, and can be appealed. News highlights 4 deaths. Kuomintang legislator Fu Kunkai suggested blasting solution, but was refuted by Professor Li Hongyuan of National Taiwan University, pointing out that the terrain of the dammed lake is complex, and blasting may lead to secondary disasters. News highlights a T-91 rifle shooting accident occurred in Chenggong Ridge, Taichung on the 22nd, and the 18-year-old conscript soldier surnamed Xiao fired the last bullet and accidentally hit the left side of the face, causing 1/3 of his face to be damaged, his eyeballs fell out, and he was stuck in the brain. The family prayed that the doctor could save the other eye, and through the Sakha Buddhist Society's collective chanting and chanting, they hoped to save their grandson's life. Prosecutors are investigating the cause of the accident. News highlights: although she said she was just talking about official business, she held a press conference last night to apologize, admitting that she had no relationship between men and women, emphasizing that she was innocent and had no relationship between men and women, but admitted that her behavior was easily misunderstood and she deeply regretted her rash actions. News highlights: Taiwanese bicycle brand Giant was suspended by the U.S. Customs CBP on suspicion of forced labor, prohibiting Taiwanese-made bicycles and parts from being exported to the United States, affecting about 4 to 5% of consolidated revenue. Giant said that it has adopted measures such as zero recruitment fees and optimized dormitories, and will file a complaint to seek revocation, and the Ministry of Economic Affairs will assist in handling it, emphasizing that supply in other markets will not be affected. News highlights: after Intel received a $50 billion investment from Nvidia to invest more than 4%, U.S. media reported that Apple may also join the investment. Analysts pointed out that the new CEO Chen Liwu is actively seeking cooperation, including Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, Tesla, and TSMC, and other major manufacturers may follow suit, but mass production still needs to rely on its own wafer manufacturing capabilities. The news inspired Intel stock price to soar 6.41%. News highlights: the Taipei District Court tried the Green Camp communist espionage case on the 25th, and former party worker Huang Qurong was fined 100 yuan for 10 years. Former National Security Council Secretary He Renzhou was fined 5 yuan in February 8, Chu Xiuan was fined 5 yuan in February 6, and Wu Shengyu was fined 4 years. Huang was absorbed by China as a communist spy, leaking government secrets and the vice president's itinerary through encrypted apps, and the development organization case is still being tried by the High Court. News highlights: the third quarter will end, and the accounting at the end of the quarter will enter the final stage. According to the number of days of overbuying, consecutive days of overbuying, shareholding ratio and market capitalization, 18 high-probability stocks were screened out, covering memory, Winbond, ADATA, PCB, Xinxing, Nandian, Jingchink, Testing, Jinky, Yingwei, Optical Communications, Lianjun, Huaxing Guang, and financial stocks, Yuantai Gold, Taishan Gold, South China Gold, Mega Gold, Sinopac Gold, and other 5 major directions. News highlights: the Kuomintang chairman election has been determined to be 6 grabs and 1, including Hao Longbin, Zhang Luan, Luo's Haiqiang and others, and the vote will be held on October 18. I was optimistic that Hao Longbin had the best chance of winning, but Zhang Luan was supported by the military and local factions, making the election treacherous. Although Luo's Haiqiang is flexibly pursuing, the overall pattern shows a showdown between Hao and Zhang. News highlights: China has mandated Social Security since September, which has greatly increased the cost of enterprises, especially small and medium-sized enterprises, which need to make up for past arrears, weakening the attractiveness of foreign investment to set up factories. People's wages have decreased, financial assets have been occupied by Social Security, credit card overdue and consumer loans have increased, and retail investors no longer have spare money to speculate in stocks. Experts believe that the A-share market is no longer driven by personal funds, and in the short term, it may enter a volatile zone, and institutional funds will dominate the market. News highlights: Intel is seeking investment from Apple to revive its chip business, but it is still in the preliminary negotiation stage, and the outcome of the cooperation is undecided. Recently, Intel has received capital injections from the U.S. government, SoftBank, and Nvidia, and its stock price has risen. Analysts pointed out that even if they cooperate, Apple still mainly supplies chips from TSMC, and Intel has not received orders for wafer foundry, so it still faces challenges in resuming the foundry business. News highlights: U.S. Treasury Secretary Bessent pointed out that about 99% of the world's advanced chips are produced in Taiwan, which has become the largest single risk to the global economy, and called for the dispersal of chip production capacity to the United States and allies. He emphasized that the United States is making every effort to ensure the security of semiconductor supply and safeguard U.S. interests in negotiations with China through leverages such as aircraft engines, components, chemicals, and the IPO market. U.S. and Chinese officials have held talks multiple times and will hold consultations again in October and November. News highlights: Kista, 2352, plans to reduce its capital by 18%, withdraw 1.8% per share, and the stock will be suspended from September 25 to October 3, and the new shares will be reissued and listed on October 7. The group's transformation into a high-value-added business has worked, with medical and intelligent solutions revenue hitting a record high in the second quarter, and expanding AI smart retail and AIDC applications through its partner technology stake in Shinji, and the revenue in the third quarter is expected to remain flat or increase slightly. News highlights: international copper prices were affected by the decline in Indonesia's large-scale copper mine production, rising more than 3% on the 24th, hitting a 15-month high, driving Taiwan copper price concept stocks to rise strongly on the 25th. News highlights: in the past 2 years, only Yining Bridge residence has complied, with an average total transaction price of 926.5 yuan, while others such as Dalian and Yakaijima City have exceeded 1,300 yuan. Due to high housing prices, small square meters, and strong investment nature, it is difficult for first-time buyers to benefit, and the impact of Xinkingen on the pre-sale market in Taipei City is limited. News highlights: Alpha School in Austin, USA, focuses on AI, with only 2 hours of traditional classes per day, and the rest of the time is assisted in learning practical skills such as entrepreneurship and financial literacy through AI. The school has expanded rapidly since its establishment in 2014, and this year it plans to set up schools in more than 10 cities across the United States and enter public charter schools, sparking heated discussions about educational innovation and effectiveness. News highlights: an accident occurred in Taichung's Chenggong Ridge shooting training on the 22nd, and the 18-year-old recruit surnamed Xiao suffered severe facial injuries and fell out of his eyeballs. Photos of the injuries were leaked to social networks afterwards, and the Central Prosecutor's Office has investigated them separately, involving violations of the Personal Information Law. News highlights: mainland actress Wu Jinyan and Hong Yao got married last year and had a daughter. People familiar with the matter clarified that because Weibo is set to only display content within half a year or a year, the system automatically hides posts, and Hong Yao also posted a response: "It's good, it's very good." News highlights: Hualien Guangfu Township was affected by the heavy rain of the strong typhoon Burj Gaza, and the Matayan Creek dammed lake overflowed on the 23rd, causing 14 deaths, and many people were missing. Experts criticized the central government for urging the evacuation, but the local government neglected to implement it, and the county magistrate Su Jinwei was away before the incident, which caused public doubts about dereliction of duty, and the incident was regarded as a man-made disaster rather than a simple natural disaster. News highlights: according to statistics from the Labor Insurance Bureau, as of September 17, 3 professional unions, namely Taipei City Hairdressing and Beauty Technical Instructors, Dawan City Rental Management Service Industry, and Greater Tainan Religious Service, have failed to pay labor insurance and occupational accident insurance premiums within the time limit. Members should keep proof of payment to protect their own rights and interests. News highlights: the power bank in the living room of the netizen's home suddenly touched a spontaneous combustion and exploded, and the smoke instantly filled the room. The product is Motsi Technology Universal Charging Pro Power Bank 10,000 mAh. The original serial number was marked as safe, but spontaneous combustion still occurred, causing consumers to question the safety of the product. Motsi Technology said it would inspect the product and deal with consumer losses, but the communication process was rejected by consumers. News highlights: an 87-year-old woman surnamed Huang in Hualien Guangfu Township was buried in her Buddha Street residence due to the flood caused by Typhoon Burj Gaza, and was still holding the God's table on her deathbed. His family had advised him to evacuate, but the old man insisted on going home to check. The rescue team continued to clean up the scene to find the body, and the family choked up and prayed for safety. News highlights: Hong Kong singer Lin Xintheng, Mag, lost control of her emotions on Instagram in the early morning of the 24th, shouting "Someone wants to kill me" in horror, and identified a bearded man. The agent said that she is currently in the UK and has been sent to the hospital for emergency treatment, in safe condition, but emotional. Lin Xintheng had suspended her acting work due to vocal cords and emotional problems, but in recent years she has returned to the stage as an independent singer, and this incident has aroused concern about her physical and mental health. News highlights: Hualien Guangfu Township suffered a serious disaster due to the overflow of the dammed lake of Matayangzi, and artists from all walks of life have reached out to help. Tian Tuan Mayday donated 500 yuan to assist in disaster relief. Cindy Wang, Renee Lu, and Wu Kakan each donated 100 yuan, and Luo's Hixiang, Zhang Beiyi, Korean cheerleading goddess Li Yang, etc. also prayed and cheered for Hualien through social platforms, hoping that the affected areas would tide over the difficulties as soon as possible. News highlights: in the early morning of the 24th in Bangkok, Thailand, a giant sinkhole suddenly appeared in front of Vajra Hospital, 50 meters deep and 30 meters wide, engulfing many cars and telephone poles, and surrounding roads collapsed. Authorities have evacuated patients and residents of the hospital and reinforced the scene, and there have been no casualties. Sinkholes may be related to subway construction, and Bangkok is facing the threat of Typhoon Kaza, exposing the city's vulnerability again. News highlights: the Ministry of Health and Welfare launched the 0923 Hualien Disaster Fundraising Project on September 25, raising 500 million yuan for emergency relief and post-disaster reconstruction. Donations can be made through bank remittance, Line Pay, the 4 major supermarkets and overseas remittances until October 24, and donation receipts can be obtained. News highlights: Guo Shiyao and Zhu Yi member Chen Feng were recently revealed by a weekly magazine to be in love, which attracted attention from the outside world. In this regard, the agencies of both parties remained silent. Chen Feng responded for the first time through social platforms earlier, saying bluntly in white on a black background, Don't you believe what some media write? X. Mentally retarded and tired. Strongly deny the relationship. News highlights Kelly and Kiwaji broke up due to the invitation of the show, and finally released their past grievances on the 24th. Kelly shared the process of apologizing in person on the podcast, and cried and hugged Kiwaji on the spot, saying, "I make you sad, I'm sorry," and the two used this to communicate and resolve misunderstandings and rebuild their friendship. News highlights the overflow of the dammed lake in Matayan Creek in Hualien caused a disaster, and an anonymous police officer circulated on the internet that the Ministry of the Interior invented vertical evacuation and caused improper evacuation. DPP spokesman Wu Zheng refuted this statement, emphasizing that vertical evacuation is a common international principle and has been around for a long time. When Fu Kunkai was the county magistrate of Hualien County in 2018, the county government's flood protection plan clearly stipulated this evacuation method, criticizing the county head for taking the lead in spreading rumors. News highlights Sister Maple Leaf, the C-position live broadcaster of the mainland Duyan girl group SK Moonlight 217, became popular for dancing in the car. My friend Huguo shared a number of beautiful photos of her private clothes without filters, showing exquisite facial features and changeable looks. Fans expressed their understanding of the use of live filters, saying that this is the norm in the industry. News highlights a man surnamed Lu complained that the county government did not evacuate in time, resulting in his elderly mother being swept away by the flood and his cousin killed. The man choked up emotionally at the funeral home, accusing the county government of insufficient notification, and was deeply angry and helpless about the powerlessness and pain of losing his family, and the search and rescue and aftermath work continued. News highlights on the morning of the 25th, a police chase occurred in the East District of Hsinchu City, and the suspect charged into the police with a modified pistol. An innocent ambulance was affected and crashed into a telephone pole, and the bullet casings were scattered at the scene, with no casualties, and the police are actively pursuing it. News highlights on September 23, the overflow of the dammed lake in Matayangzi, Guangfu Township, Hualien, caused serious disasters and casualties, but President Lai Ching-te still went to Tainan to attend a Taiwanese businessman's dinner that night. News highlights former U.S. National Security Advisor Bolton warned that Trump's rumored suspension of about $400 million in military aid to Taiwan may be related to his pursuit of the largest trade deal in history with China, which may weaken Taiwan's defenses and endanger political survival. Wang Luzhong, a scholar traveling to the United States, pointed out that Taiwan should face up to its own destiny and cannot completely rely on the United States for protection. News highlights Chinese actor Yu Hao fell to his death from a building on the 11th, and the official tone was set as a drunken accident, but conspiracy theories continued to ferment. On the 24th, she updated her current situation on the community, expressing her dissatisfaction with the outcome of the incident and calling on fans to wait for her to recover before sharing more information. News highlights as of 10 a.m. on the 25th, a total of 15 deaths and 46 people have been missing. Although the water volume of the dammed lake has dropped from 9,100 tons to 2,300 tons, the lake surface has shrunk significantly and exposed the dam body, but rainwater continues to be injected upstream, and the dam structure has not yet been confirmed by real-time images, so it still maintains a red alert. The gray and white mountains exposed by the dam body contrast sharply with the surrounding green mountains and forests, and also highlight the power of nature. News highlights former Kuomintang legislator Cai Zheng Yuan exposed a suspected DPP legislative Yuan group conversation, which showed that Wang Dingyu suggested counterattacking through the media to release clarified and lethal news. Wang Dingyu clarified that he only used pictures as examples, emphasizing that the truth is only lethal to rumor-mongers, and criticized the Hualien County government for ignoring the central government's 9 evacuation notices, resulting in the deaths of disaster victims, pointing out that this move is to restore the facts and protect the people of Hualien. News highlights Hualien Matayan dammed lake overflowed, and Guangfu Township suffered a heavy disaster. A 6-year-old girl, Xiao Yi, was rescued after being trapped for 2 days with the assistance of her godmother and was safely reunited with her mother. However, the god aunt unfortunately died, and the god uncle is still missing, and the search and rescue continues. News highlights from July to August 114, the Unified Invoice Lottery was drawn, with the special prize number 539605536, the special prize 51509866, and the 3 groups of first prizes were 43074088, 22870220, and 38253117. The second to 6th prizes correspond to the prize money according to the final number of the first prize. The prize collection period is from October 6, 114 to January 5, 115, and the Ministry of Finance reminds the public to pay attention to the deadline and encourage the use of cloud invoices to increase the chances of winning. News highlights the county government clarified that the forced evacuation was only initiated on the morning of 9/20, and emphasized that the disaster relief work is still ongoing, calling on the outside world to pay attention to disaster relief and not to create panic. However, netizens questioned that the county government should review and take responsibility as soon as possible, believing that disaster relief should take precedence over political rhetoric. News highlights: due to fluctuations in international fuel prices and blocked budget allocation, Taipower accumulated losses of 417.9 billion yuan by the end of July. The Electricity Price Review Committee resolved to slightly increase people's livelihood electricity consumption from October, with an average increase of 0.71%, while industrial electricity consumption will remain frozen to take into account cost rationalization and competitiveness. Vulnerable groups such as agriculture and fisheries, schools, and families with disabilities are not affected. News highlights: the latest research shows that walking 10,000 steps a day is not the only health standard, and about 7,000 steps a day can significantly reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease, dementia, and death, while having a carbon reduction effect, which is more practical than 10,000 steps. Experts remind that although activities such as cycling and swimming cannot be measured by steps, they can also take into account sports and environmental protection, and the key is to continue to maintain daily activity. News highlights: starting from 2025, listed companies with a capital of less than 2 billion will be required to submit sustainability reports, and small and medium-sized enterprises will face challenges such as manpower shortages, data fragmentation, and reporting quality. Experts point out that the report should not only deal with regulations, but also be an opportunity to honestly disclose and promote transformation. Through cross-departmental collaboration and third-party verification, companies not only build trust but also strengthen their competitiveness and deepen their sustainability culture. News highlights: super typhoon Burj Gaza brought heavy rain, Hualien's Matayan Creek dammed lake collapsed on the 23rd, floods carried soil and rocks to wash away bridges and roads, causing 14 deaths, more than 100 people lost contact, and thousands of people were evacuated urgently. Experts criticized the government for failing to open aqueducts in time and missing the opportunity for disaster prevention, calling for a comprehensive review of post-disaster reconstruction to avoid a recurrence of similar tragedies.